Good afternoon. My name is Professor Harmon, and today I'm going to give you an overview of library resources in support of your project in English 407. Due to the COVID-19 closure of the library building, we have had to transition to a lot of things that are online. So throughout this video, I'm really going to be focusing on a lot of those resources and services that you can access online rather than physically through the library. So, our goals today are to introduce you to library resources for this class, discover tools available to help you access literary criticism as well as cultural and historical materials, and then also discuss how to search and find books and journal articles. And for books, I'm specifically going to show you how you can use our library catalog to connect into those ebooks. Before I begin any assignment, usually I like to go through and review what the assignment goals are for our library session. And so you are writing a paper, and if you look at your assignment, you are expected to have 5 total resources. And I'm looking at the assignment now as I'm going through this, and I encourage you to read through it thoroughly. But you need to choose 5 sources, so 2 of those sources will be plays from the semester. And then you have a minimum of 3 sources, must be essays, chapters, articles, or books that critically examine your text, or works that provide relevant historical information to support a claim that you wish to make. And I'm pulling this exactly from the text of your assignment prompt. Also, all of the sources must be non-internet sources. That is, library-based sources from the databases. So if you're getting things through our library database, those are completely acceptable. Also, one note is things that we can't use. Book reviews or summaries do not count as scholarly sources. A book review is simply a summary of a source. You're going to need stuff that's going to help you dig in a little bit deeper. So I'm going to encourage you to skip over those things that are book reviews. And sometimes it's a review of a great book, and then you can go out and find the actual full text of that book. One other note is that all your sources will need to be cited in MLA format. And then my final question is, how recent does my information need to be? Well, this is kind of a trick question for things relating to literature or history, because the date of the material doesn't really matter. So it's appropriate to use older materials for this assignment. So we need 5 sources, 2 are our plays from the semester, 3 are outside sources from the library, and don't use book reviews in summary. So now I'm going to talk about what resources I'm going to recommend for this assignment. Now there's kind of 2 pieces, depending on whether you're trying to find that literary criticism piece or if you're trying to find additional cultural historical materials. Your strategies are going to be slightly different depending on which resource you're looking for. So just to kind of establish literary criticism. So there's an entire field of scholarship that is dedicated to the analysis, critique of literature. And so when you go out and you start researching for things on literary criticism or searching for that literary criticism, there are going to be some very specialized databases, such as the MLA International Bibliography. That is a core starting place for all literature search. In addition to that, I'm going to recommend JSTOR, Understanding Shakespeare, which is a really cool tool for Shakespearean research, and then also Literary Reference Center. So MLA International Bibliography, Understanding Shakespeare, and Literary Reference Center are literary criticism-centric resources. JSTOR is both literary criticism and it's also cultural historical. So you will find literary criticism in there. But when we switch gears, and if you're looking for something to kind of talk about that cultural or historical aspect, the best library databases for that are going to be JSTOR, and primarily JSTOR, as well as Project Muse can also be helpful. In addition to that, literature and history are both fields that are very heavily published in the book format. So you can find electronic books through our library catalog for both the literary criticism and the cultural historical materials. And I'm going to show you how to walk through a couple of these databases, as well as show you how to limit your searches to ebooks. Now, since everyone is off campus, you're going to need to know how to log in from off campus. So when you click on an individual database for the first time, you're going to see this screen, and it's going to ask you to log in with your network username and password. So you click that. And then when you go to log in, you will use your USC network username and password. So what that means for me is I'm going to put the first part of my email, which is Deborah T. And then instead of my email password, I'm going to put my Blackboard password. So first part of my email and then my Blackboard password. If that does not work for you, make sure you reach out to us. We even have a page, which I'll point out when we get there, that kind of gives you an overview of off-campus login issues as well as some initial troubleshooting. Usually the first line of troubleshooting is if you're putting in the right information, is simply reset that USC network username and password, and usually that will let you in. And if you continue to have problems, then we'll work with you from there. Before we get to an overview of the resources, I did want to talk to you a little bit about the support that remains for you. Even though the physical library building is presently closed, the librarians were on every day, and I in some ways feel like I'm working more now than I do when I'm physically in the library. So there's a couple of different ways to contact us. You can make a virtual appointment, you can email us, and then you can chat with us. We have chat 24 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and 8 a.m. to midnight on Saturday and Sunday. So to access the library homepage, I'm going to go to usca.edu, and I'm going to scroll over academics, and I can either click the first link under academic resources, or alternately I can scroll all the way down the page and click the button down here for the Greg Graniteville Library. This is going to take me to the homepage of the library, and as I mentioned earlier, you can ask a librarian by clicking on this button. That's going to give you access to chat and virtual appointments, or making virtual appointments. And then also, this is our off-campus access button, so if you are having problems, you can go ahead and click here. The first thing I'm going to show you is how to access books and media, so our electronic books. And so to access the ebooks, the best first way to do it is go ahead and click on Advanced Search, and then that's going to bring me to an advanced search for the books, and I can go under Material Type, scroll down to the bottom, hit eBooks, and then type in my search. So now that I've typed in my search, I'm going to hit Submit, and that's going to take me to a results list. And what you'll notice is that all of the books on the left-hand side, you'll see that it says an ebook, and that means that it is an electronic book. Now, if I want to access the electronic version of a book, what I'm first going to do is click on the title of a book. So, for example, if I want to access this book, I'm going to click on the name of the book, and then the book record page will show up, and in the very middle of the page, I will see this Connect To. I'm going to click on that. Sometimes you'll see USC Aiken Connect To. Click on that. And then if I'm off campus, of course, it's going to ask me to log in, but since I'm already logged in, it's letting me in. And then to access the book, I'm going to click on the PDF full text. The full download is a little bit of a pain because you have to create an account and all this other stuff. I just encourage you to access the PDF full text, and you'll be able to access an online version of the book. On the right-hand side, you're going to get a full version of the book over here. And then on the left-hand side, you're going to have some tools for being able to either navigate from the different chapters, or alternately, you can search within the individual book for key terms. Now, if you want to save any of the pages, there's an option here. You can either save pages or email pages. If you click on Save Pages, it's going to allow you to create a PDF, and you can see I can save up to 100 pages from this book. Go through, collect it, and then save the PDF. Alternately, same options for emailing pages to yourself. So that was a super quick overview of how to access ebooks. Again, if you have any problems, make sure you reach out to one of us. Now I'm going to show you how to access the databases that we talked about earlier. I'm going to go back to the home page, and instead of clicking on Books and Media, I'm going to click on the third tab over, which says Research Guides. And from the Research Guides, from the drop-down, I'm going to choose Literary Criticism. And what this is going to do is take us to a portal for all things literary criticism. And then once I'm here, the main page I want to focus on is this Find Articles page, because this is going to have a link to all of the major databases that I'm going to need for both the literary criticism side, but also for the historical research. So first I'm going to show you how to use MLA International Bibliography. Remember, this one is for literary criticism. So I'm going to click on it, and if you have used Academic Search Premier, it's going to probably look pretty similar, but this one is MLA International Bibliography. So here I'm going to throw in my search terms. One of the great things about literature search is you know something. You know the author, and usually you know a work or a collection of works. So here I'm going to limit to Henry V and Shakespeare, and then I'm going to hit search. And then the results will come back. One thing I notice is that there are a couple of books, and as we know, we're not supposed to be using book reviews, so I'm going to go ahead over here to the left and limit to academic journals. And then as I go through, I can see that there are different articles, and if I want to access the individual full text of the article, I'm going to see if we have it by clicking on Full Text Finder. What Full Text Finder is it's going to open up a bridge to try to connect me to the full text in another one of our databases. If we have the full text available in another database, under Get Full Text, you will see a few links, and then I can click on one of the links, and it's going to take me to another one of our databases, and then I'll be able to pull up the PDF full text here and download it. Sometimes when you click on Find Full Text, you don't see this Get Full Text, and all you see is Check Library Catalog or Request through Interlibrary Loan. Unfortunately, due to the COVID-19 closures, Interlibrary Loan as well as Pascal Delivers are currently suspended, so that is not presently an option for us. If you are struggling to find relevant resources for your assignment, make sure you reach out and ask a librarian, and we will work with you to find those relevant resources. Back to the database page, I did want to show you JSTOR. So remember, JSTOR is great for literary criticism, but it's also great for our history database or history research. So I'm going to click on JSTOR, and it's going to take me to a home page, and here I'm going to go through and do a search. Once I've entered my terms, I'm going to go ahead and hit search. And one of the great things about Shakespeare is that everything in here is full text and everything is scholarly. So that is great. So if I want to access an individual article, I'm going to just click on the name of the article, and then it's going to open up a little preview of the article, and then if I want to save it, I can click up here under Download PDF, and then it's going to download a copy of the article, and then I can choose to hit the little download button and download it to my computer. There is not a nice email function within JSTOR. One of the things I do like about JSTOR is it does provide this cover page, which has all the critical information that you're going to need in order to create an MLA citation for this work. Now, the final database I wanted to show you is another literary criticism database, and it's called Understanding Shakespeare. So Understanding Shakespeare is an experimental database made possible through JSTOR, where you can go through and explore through a primary source. And so we have here Henry V. And so what it's going to do is it's going to bring back the full text, the primary text, the original work, and then it's going to show me related journal articles throughout. And so it took a minute to populate, but what you'll see, it says click to see articles and chapters quoting this passage. And so then I can click on an individual thing, and then it's going to pull me up the JSTOR articles that cite that passage, and so I can go through and download those to my computers as well. So it's just a different way to navigate through the Shakespeare, through your work, and find other potentially interesting and relevant materials. So that was a quick overview of library resources as well as services in support of your project for your English 407 class. If you have any questions, you can email me directly at deborah.t@usca.edu, and as always, you can reach out to us through Ask a Librarian. Happy searching!